Like, can somebody explain to me what Ibrahim Traoré did to the West, to the United States, to France? Like, what did he do? When has it become a problem for Africans to say, leave our country? What has it been like? We didn't say you should leave the continent. Like you, you all can still migrate to Nigeria. Nigeria. You can come in and like Nigeria. Like once you're white, you can come into Nigeria. You don't have any problem. But it's the audacity of this guy. Hey, leave my country, man. Not only that, Ibrahim Traoré was invited to the Oval Window. He turned it down. Look, this guy is pressing the wrong buttons in the body of the West. Listen, he was invited to the great and the legendary Oval Window that has seen so many presidents, but this guy said, "Look, I'm so busy in my country. What are you busy with?" Like that's a big effrontery. That's a big temerity. Ibrahim Traoré, look, I'm telling you, let me tell you this. Let me explain this to you. What is happening in Niger Republic, what is happening in Chad, what is happening in Mali is almost the same with what has happened in Burkina Faso. But I tell you the problem, right? You don't hear no assassination attempt on Assimi Goita. You don't hear no assassination. Even Niger Republic went to the extent of even changing their language to Hausa. But they don't really worry about that. Do you know why? They are looking at the Nigerian president and the Malian president. These guys are not like, they took power. They are tired of oppression, but they can't be there forever. But the problem they have with Ibrahim Traoré is the mind of Ibrahim Traoré, the ideologies of Ibrahim Traoré. Probably if you ask Emmanuel Macron right now, that what has Ibrahim, he's going to tell you Ibrahim Traoré is after his life. I was watching the presser and I was looking at, they were in the room, and if you check on TikTok, you're going to see that video. Emmanuel Macron with one other guy, a white person, they were watching Ibrahim Traoré release a press conference. Do you know what that means?
L'Afrique est l'empire des esclaves. C'est comme ça qu'ils voient l'Afrique. Pour eux, les Africains les appartiennent. Nos terres les appartiennent.
Now everybody is asking, like, this guy has boxed France to the tight corner. He has really, only Ibrahim Traoré has been able to show the world how weak, let me say how weak France is, right? And this guy, he knows the nuances of the West. Is so transparent, is up to date. He's giving morals to the Burkina Faso citizen. I'm going to tell you the baddest problem, right? Ibrahim Traoré is not only educating the Burkinabe citizens, is educating them the right way. Is showing them how to do it. Such a way that when Ibrahim Traoré is no longer here, maybe when he grows old and the West cannot afford to let Ibrahim Traoré grow old. I'm telling you, that is his biggest problem. The West cannot afford to have such an intelligent mind, such an enlightened mind that is so God-fearing to be in a strong position like that. This is what has Ibrahim Traoré done? He's only governing what the West call the poorest country in the world, one of the poorest country in the world, right? So what's the problem? South Africa, like a lot of good countries are there. Why do you care so much about Burkina Faso, right? They banned Air France from coming to Burkina Faso. Air France wanted to come back. He said, no, don't come. This guy is not only a problem to the West. Ibrahim Traoré is a problem to even some of the African leaders. And I'm going to tell you why. Look at us, for example, the youths of Nigeria and a lot of youths all around Africa. If you look at South African TikTok right now, you'll be seeing something like Uya Isha, hey, Uya Isha. Right? That is, America is so happy. The West are so happy with that kind of thing because, Look at what the Chinese youths are doing right now. The youth of China are taking over the technology because they are the next generation. They are already integrating and incorporating them to the next level. China is definitely ascending to becoming one of the greatest world power, and they will be, because they know how to transition, that ideology into the youth. And that is the problem of the West with Ibrahim Traoré. They can't afford this guy to unify the youth. Now, you see, he has been able to unify the whole African youth, right? They can't afford Ibrahim Traoré to educate the African youth. Now he's talking about production. And the way Ibrahim Traoré is talking about production, it's really, really making his people see the reason why production is important. He said, for every industry we open here, one industry closes up there. He said, now they manufacture gold. Now they are a gold manufacturing company, refinery is going to close over there. That is it. They don't have gold. Now, he said they need to start manufacturing things. Ibrahim Traoré said that is where the job is. A lot of Nigerians are graduates of so many things, but I dare you, how many engineers in Nigeria can even dismember an engine, graduate engineer, and reassemble the engine? Not to talk of many other African countries. That is just assembling and dismembering the engine parts or the part of a car whatsoever. Let's now even go into manufacturing of the parts. Even, this guy is going into agriculture. This guy is now, look, listen, the road construction of, like, this guy has taken a lot of jobs away from so many people. The road construction of Burkina Faso will now be handled by the Burkinabe, citizens. That is a large chunk of money going into the purse of the nation, improving the economic infrastructure of the nation. If they have to pave roads to God knows where, they will do it by themselves. That is mentally equipping your people. Now they have their own bank, When as Alim, the Cameroonian journalist, Alain, I forgot the name. When he asked him that, what of the CFA franc? He said everything that ties them to the West will be broken. Let me tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, the West cannot afford to let a brilliant mind be in power, such as that of Ibrahim Traoré. Look, when I compare what Muammar Gaddafi is trying to do, Muammar Gaddafi is trying to do a lot of things, but he kept a lot of people in the dark, in my own opinion, because we did not have the privilege to hear all these things, But Ibrahim Traoré is not only teaching the Burkinabe citizens, is teaching every African citizens how to get the job done. If you tell me, I can tell you that most of the Burkinabe citizens, they want to stay and see this success happen in their lifetime. Look at the VDP, the volunteers, defense personnel. Like, a lot of African youths are trooping into Burkina Faso. And I'm telling you, Cote d'Ivoire won't stand the chance if war was to happen. They won't stand the chance because the population will be too much. And they have the right people to train them. North Korea's personnel are there, Chinese personnel are there, Russian personnel are there. Listen, man, no, don't be a fool. He's having the right alliance diplomacy with the right people. He's having alliance diplomacy with Russia, with North Korea, with China, the emerging economy. And those guys too can spot him that this guy is going to be a big thing. Now they're asking, when is democracy going to come back? Look, listen, when they tell you when is democracy coming back, they're telling you when is the West coming back. That's just the simple truth about it. And within Burkina Faso, we understand that there are still a lot of neo-colonialists that are blacks in Burkina Faso. Yes, I know there are a lot of them that are thinking this guy is not making us make a lot of money. Some people are naturally bad. Even in the time of slavery, there were black people that sold black people to get money. So some people are naturally criminals by their DNA. But Ibrahim Traoré is bridging the gap, is reducing enmity, is unifying a lot of people. I was about to attend to a patient in the hospital some days back. This patient was in severe pain. He had spine problem and he had this bilateral femoral fracture. He couldn't sit on the seat, and people were he was calling on a lot of personnel to come and assist him to sit down. Nobody was trying to, and I was passing and I was about walking because when I was about to go and undo one emergency, and I looked to the side, and for 1 second, I will confess to you, I looked at myself. To be honest, right? I know Ibrahim Traoré, when it comes to being a human being, is miles ahead of somebody like me. I looked at that man and I was like, okay. The man said somebody should come and carry him. And a lot of people were walking by, and I was like, man, if these are the things that Ibrahim Traoré is preaching. And I looked at them and said, I'm going there to help him. He's a Nigerian. Like, Ibrahim Traoré is making me understand that when you're in the position of service, you are to sacrifice totally for the people. Man, look, listen, man. And this is what the West don't want to happen. They don't want it to happen. You can see that they are not worried about the other presidents in Africa. They are worried about Ibrahim Traoré, because Ibrahim Traoré is becoming a force that is educating the mind of the African youth. That is what they don't want. He's telling the African youth that you don't have to travel out. Now, let me tell you another thing he did. He has made child bearing in Burkina Faso free. And let me tell you something. It is a scriptural thing, it is a traditional thing, it's a natural thing that, look at the landmass of Burkina Faso. The population is not equal to the landmass. But Ibrahim Traoré knows that if medical care, when it comes to birth, is free, a lot of people will be reproducing, right? And with time, with the infrastructures, with the development, and they keep producing ever-growing population, they will only continue to grow and improve. And that is what the West cannot allow to happen. That's why they are shipping out a lot of African youths to the West to go and work, to go and slave, because their own citizens are scared of even giving birth. But Africa, man, is free of charge. You can see an African woman give birth to 14, 15 children. What the fuck? And the population of Africa is supposed to be a tool that should serve Africa. But the West have been able to chicken out and puppet the leaders that, population is a bad thing. You can see, even in some countries, they pay you when you have less kids. In fact, there's a lot going on. And this is the reason why Africa should not only speak alone, but should be ready to deploy if they go and get stuff for Burkina Faso and Ibrahim Traoré. I won't hesitate when the time comes.